Hey, how is everyone doing today? It's April 29th. It's a Wednesday. It's a beautiful day here in Berlin. We've had a really nice week. Um, I had kind of a crazy experience yesterday into today. And so I'm gonna, I think, share a bit of what's going on with me. So if you don't want all the blah 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 yakety yaks, I'll time code when the toning starts. Um, but first, yeah, I just wanted to share. So I think a lot of my subscribers are friends, so they would already know this information. But if, in case you don't know me personally, um, I am a cancer survivor. I had breast cancer. I was diagnosed about 5 years ago, like to the day. And I went through chemo, surgery, radiation. I did it all. It was, I guess there's all these different types of breast cancers, and mine was, from like risk factor scariness. It was kind of in the middle of where you could be. Like it was called a locally advanced breast cancer. So I had this giant tumor, this really aggressive, rapidly reproducing cancer cells, but it hadn't spread anywhere outside to other parts of the body. So it was treated with like very intensive chemotherapy. Then I had 2 surgeries to remove the tumor, and then I did like a month of radiation after that. So it was a pretty intense process. It was like scorched earth on my body. And I have just been slowly recovering over the past 4 years since I ended treatment. The first 2 years were pretty brutal, but at the same time, I definitely think that experience is what led me to this kind of spiritual expansion and spiritual awakening that happened 2 years ago. So it was part of the healing process and the revelations I had through the pain and the scariness of the cancer that kind of led me to this point where I am now. So like all things, we learn, unfortunately, through duality. So sometimes our scariest and most challenging moments are where we grow and thrive and actually like put us on our path. But so one of the side effects of the cancer treatment, of the chemo, was that it put me into early menopause. So I basically, second round of chemo, sorry if this is too much information, but I had my last period when I was 39, when I just turned 39 during my second round of chemo. And that's quite common. Like it always goes away when you're doing chemo. I didn't actually know this. Like they didn't tell me this here. I'm in Berlin, and I did my treatment in Berlin, and they're quite. It's very different than American doctors. I got great care, but like they do not share. They do not share very much. You have to like. They will answer specific questions, but they won't just kind of give you like a broad overview of everything that's going to happen. And because of my age and the intensity of the chemo I did, they said that there was a chance that my periods would come back after treatment at some point, but there's also a high likelihood that this would be it for me, that it would put me into early menopause. And that's what it appeared to do. So for the past 5 years, I've basically been in complete menopause. I couldn't take hormones or do any kind of hormone replacement therapy because my cancer was hormone positive, which means the cancer cells actually like feed off of my hormones. So from that perspective, it was actually quite beneficial because after treatment, there's always a chance of recurrence, and one of the ways to limit the chance of recurrence with hormone positive cancer is to shut down your hormones. So a lot of people will go on the injections that completely, that create kind of like a false menopause if it doesn't happen naturally, and then go on other sorts of drugs. So I didn't need to go on these hormone blockers because my body did it naturally But I always had this interesting sense that I'm like, I wonder if it's going to come back someday, even though that's highly unlikely. And they say that like after a year of this kind of after treatment, if you don't have it, if your period hasn't come back, then you're probably, it's never coming back, and then you're in full menopause. And for me, it's been this way for it's been 4 years since I ended treatment. So I thought I was completely done. I took my hormone levels, like there was nothing happening. I was fully I was not producing any estrogen, like it was done. And I knew it was like what my body needed, and actually it was like, making me safer from a recurrence and all these things. But it was really sad. I felt like I got, the last gasp of my youth was taken away from me prematurely, and there was a lot of grief around that. And I always wondered if, like, through this healing work and through this connection with my body that occurred after the cancer, like if it would kind of come back one day at the right time. And yesterday I woke up and I have a period. It's not like a full one, but something is happening. And then I was thinking back on the month, and like my emotions were much more volatile than they had been. I mean, I came on my last video on Monday. I was saying how I was like, I had cried before doing that video, and I never cry anymore. It's really a rare occurrence for me to cry these days. Not because I'm suppressing it or anything. Like, I love crying. I think it's a very cleansing act. And I used to cry all the time, but I just like haven't felt that, I just haven't been able to get there. And yesterday I like sobbed as I was stretching. Not yesterday, sorry, Monday. And then the next day, like this, some sort of period came. So, yeah, I guess it feels like, on one hand, I know like the kind of medical community and establishment would say this is actually like makes my chances of recurrence higher and it's more dangerous. But I just feel this like enormous, that is like, I don't know how to say this, but it feels like a really beautiful rebirth and resurgence of my body kind of coming back online, even if not like fully, but like I'm entering this I've repaired something within myself, and like my divine feminine is like rebooting, and I'm coming back into cycle with nature, and yeah, I'm trusting my body that it's coming back at this time, because it's time that I'm safe. I don't believe I'm going to get a recurrence of the cancer. Obviously, I can't know for sure, but I am trusting that my body is doing this because it's time for me to come back into health and harmony. And I was tuning in a bit last night before sleep as to what was going on. I'm like, is this something I should be nervous about, or do something to prevent these hormones from causing cancer? And the message I was getting was just that this was me actually merging into a higher timeline. That there's a timeline where I never had cancer, where I didn't have to go through this because I was already aligned on my path, and I'd already learned whatever lessons I needed to learn to get there, that I didn't have to go through this cancer process to learn. And I'm like merging into that, back into that version of myself. So that's the information I got when I tuned in last night. Of course, like the people around me, I messaged, I did like, I talked to some cancer survivors, and I talked to my mom, and everyone's like, treating this as like, oh no, this is the worst thing that could happen. And I'm sure that the conventional wisdom around the medical community would be that I should go on hormone blockers or whatever, but I'm not going to. I'm not prescribing this for anybody else. I think everyone has to listen to the wisdom of their body and what makes them feel safe, and listen to their doctors. I'm not someone that's like anti-modern medicine at all. But I do have a really intuitive connection with my body. I've had diabetes since I was 2 years old, and I developed this real, I'm really in tune with what's happening inside my body. And sometimes I don't listen to it because it's scary. And for most of my life, I had a lot of anxiety and hypochondria. And so that kind of got in the way of this intuition and wisdom. But when I tune in, my body will tell me what's going on. And it's been shockingly accurate. So this is my last anecdote about that. After I moved to Berlin, I went through this kind of dark night of the soul. It was a big moment of change in my life. I had just gotten divorced, and my voice had fallen apart, and my body had fallen apart, all these things. And I was just in this like really dark phase of rebuilding. And I guess at this moment in time, I went through like a little mini awakening. I started meditating and listening to yogi mystics and just kind of more of this like Vedic Eastern philosophy started expanding my consciousness, and I became quite intuitive, but I didn't really know what was going on or have like a language for it. And before I had moved to Berlin, I saw my diabetes doctor every year in the US, and my cholesterol had been getting higher and higher. And heart disease is a side effect of diabetes. I mean, you become at much increased risk for heart disease. So they want to keep your cholesterol as low as possible. And my cholesterol, I think because like when I was living in New York, I wasn't eating very well. I didn't have the healthiest lifestyle. I was quite anxious and stressed and depressed. I mean, it was not the happiest or healthiest time in my life. And so my cholesterol had just been like steadily climbing. And the doctor said like, hey, I'm gonna want to put you on the medication they put you on to lower it. And so he's like, you're still in childbearing years, so maybe we'll wait until you're a little bit older, but we're gonna put you on these. So I moved to New York, but I didn't have any doctors here yet, and I was still going back to the US regularly. So I went and saw my diabetes doctor after like my first, 8 months in Berlin. And I'd been doing all this meditation. I'd given up coffee. I was doing yoga every day. I was just like super in tune. And so the doctor sees me and he's like, hey, yeah, okay, so we'll check your cholesterol, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna put you on medication this time because, every time it goes up. And I look at him dead in the face, and I just had this like knowing, this like deep knowing. I was like, yeah, my cholesterol isn't high anymore. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, I've been doing a lot of meditating. I brought my stress hormones are much lower, and I just know it's not high anymore. And he's like, well, okay, that's great you feel that way, but this is not actually how it works. And I'm pretty positive it's gone up. And he's like, we'll test it, but like that's not how it works. And I'm like, yeah, but I know it's low. I know it's fine, and I don't need medication. I was like, I've been eating really well. He's like, well, it's not. And then he said, they've done studies, and it's not related to food, it's not related to this, and there's no way to really bring it down, and this is not how things work, and blah, 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 blah. And I just kept reiterating. I was like, I know my cholesterol is fine now. It's fine. I know this. I can't, but I just steadfast. I was like, yeah, it's not a problem. I've been meditating. It's not a problem. And then I'm there, so he takes my blood and everything. And then a few days later, I'm back to get my eyes checked, because that's also something you have to do with diabetes every year. And I see him passing in the little lobby, and he sees me, and he comes and sits down, and his face was like white. And he goes, Sarah, I don't know how to explain this, but your cholesterol levels have come down like 80 points. He's like, I've never seen anything like this ever in my life. He's like, so you were right. He's like, I think this is an anomaly. I don't believe that this is antibodies because of meditation or diet, but they are lower now. He's like, but we'll have to test again because I think this is an anomaly. And I was like, okay, but I told you. I was like, it's not an anomaly. I did this. So, yeah, and they've never gone up to the levels they were in New York. I think they raised a little bit after for the next year because I kind of came out of this extreme mode of meditation and yoga and all this stuff. Because once I kind of got through my dark night of the soul, I just kind of went back into my normal life with normal habits a bit more, but from a healthier perspective at that point. But yeah, so that's just like an example of the, I guess my first kind of intuitive powers and claircognizance came around my body, and I just have to listen to that and really trust it, because it's hard to trust because we have this medical system that's very rigid and is, tries to explain away anything they don't understand or doesn't fit in with like that box of knowledge that they learn. And I love doctors, like I have no issues with them, and I think they can be amazingly helpful, and obviously there's like huge amounts of wisdom and knowledge in Western medicine, but I think, for me, I also have to listen to my body and also know that like if it's my time to go, that's gonna happen with or without them, I don't want to get a recurrence of cancer because that treatment process was horrendous. I don't think it's my time to go. I don't think it's gonna, this is what takes me out or anything, but I wouldn't want to have to go through another round of treatment for sure. But I think that like now I know enough, and there's enough energy healers and amazing people in this space that if something happened, I would definitely go about treatment a different way. But that's just, now I'm just talking, now I'm just sharing my thoughts. So that's what happened. So I think for this toning today, I really feel this like reboot of the divine feminine, like coming back online. And it's literally happening like through my body, through my womb, through my sacral chakra right now. So I thought that it's a perfect day to do some toning around this divine feminine energy that's like blossoming all around us in springtime. And this is for men and women, because of course, like we are all, a mix of divine feminine and divine masculine, or yin and yang energies, or whatever, these different energies. And I think that there's just so much wounding around the feminine, and it's like, especially in male bodies, we've all been taught that like feminine qualities are weak, that anything that's associated with the feminine is weak. And of course, like it's not. Like we create life. Our bodies are so strong. Like we are an immovable force. Like we are a force of nature. We are creation. And when men have to suppress their feminine and say any parts of them that are considered feminine are weak and bad and less than, like they're shutting off all of that beautiful access to their intuition and their wisdom and their flow and their love and their nurturing and their creativity. Like these are things that everybody possesses and is so important for like a balanced society, a balanced person, a balanced soul. So yeah, I wanted to tone into our divine, this divine feminine that is coming back with a force and a I would say vengeance, but not in like a negative way, but just like coming back online in this really full throttled way. So let's take a deep breath together. I like to put one hand on my heart and one on my belly. So we breathe in through the nose, hold, and sigh. Breathe in through the nose, into the belly, hold, sigh it out. Breathe in through the nose, hold, Well, that could have gone on a lot longer. Maybe I'll do a longer transmission around the divine feminine. That was pretty powerful. Let me know what you experienced from that. I forgot to mention that I encourage you to sing along, move along, lend your energy in any way that feels organic. And when I say sing along, it doesn't mean sing what I'm singing, but sing whatever comes to you in the moment that feels organic tone. Sing, hum, scream, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I would love to know how that struck you and what you experienced with that. It was pretty powerful, and something was like energy kept radiating out of my my womb, my sacral chakra. Like, I think it's still going after that. Because I talked so much today, I don't think I'll do, you know what, maybe we'll do a short. Let's just do like one card, see what comes up, see what, oh, 3 cards just fell out. That's interesting. The cards that fell out were the King of Swords. Oops, here we go. So this is about truth, justice. It's kind of head over heart, you know. It's logic. It's fairness without like the emotional ties. It's this masculine view of, you know, right and wrong, and kind of this more idea-based, head-based way of operating and seeing the world. And then we have 8 of Pentacles, which is about hard work, gaining mastery over skill. And then the 2 of Swords, which is obviously like she's caught trying not to make a decision. She's blindfolded herself and she's sitting there and she has 2 paths that she can take, and 2 difficult paths, and doesn't know which is the right one and is a little bit stuck in indecision. So I don't know, this feels like this is like a very masculine card. It's head, first of all, it's a king, so it's like the masculine embodiment of this kind of like cool logic brain. And then we have some hard work going on behind the scenes, and then we have a choice, a hard choice that we have to make. So see, on the bottom is Queen of Pentacles, and at the top is the Well, which is like this just like source creation. Oh, it's interesting. The bottom 2 cards, Queen of Pentacles and the Empress. So this is like the divine feminine. Then and the Queen of Pentacles, you know, is the feminine, kind of grounded, earthy, caretaker, helping others like create abundance in their life, and creating an environment of wealth and growth. This is also about your voice and your truth, you know. The swords are about truth and clarity, but it's very head-based truth and clarity. And then there's hard work going on, and then we have a choice. So I guess know your mind, know your truth, know your clarity, put in the work, and then choose which path you want to go down. Even if you don't know how it's going to turn out, even if it's a little bit scary. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye.